here and for all that they do, including Dr. Kinder. I love that man. He's a good friend of mine. Thank you, Dr. Kinder. You're a beautiful man. Don't think I haven't noticed. Thank you. I'd like to thank Dr. Miles and all the administration at Rockwood Summit for their leadership, their passion, their patience, and their kindness, especially through these trying times. I'd like to say thank you to Mr. and Mrs. Diffley for the gift that they gave the class of 2020. Those sunglasses there were all part of a skit. We didn't get a chance to do it, but out of the goodness of their heart, they're great people, and they're always there to lend a hand when they need them, so thank you. I'd like to thank the teachers at Rockwood Summit. I am proud to be part of a great staff, a staff that's very passionate and caring about their students. I know this firsthand. Not only am I a teacher there, I had 3 of my sons graduate from that Summit High School, which I love so dear. And I know that the passion is incredible. And if you ask my sons, they all say the same thing. They were prepared very well for college, and that doesn't come by accident, so I thank you for that. I'm very blessed to be part of that staff. I also like to thank a gentleman who's not here. His name is Clark Willie, and I'll get to that in a moment. And if I tear up, I apologize, but in a minute you'll know why. I also like to thank the class of 2020 for selecting me as their commencement speaker. I've spoken at a few functions throughout my career, and I've always thought it would be such an honor to be picked by students to give a commencement speech. And here I am. This is on my bucket list. You know, I rewrote my speech 4 or 5 times, trying to figure out what to say. So finally I went to Wikipedia to find out exactly what I could and cannot do. I always go there. And I'm going to read this. This is a commencement speech, is less bound by the structure found in other forms of public address. The speaker, that's me, accordingly enjoys a unique freedom to express him or herself. From Toastmasters International emphasize that the speech should not be a lecture, but rather a personal, engaging story the audience, that's you, can relate to. I can do this. When I was first asked by a few students, led by Noah Diffley behind me, if I were picked to deliver the commencement speech, would I do it? I replied, thank you for thinking of me, buddy, but there's no way in God's green earth this is going to happen. And yet, a lot of people are surprised, including myself. Here I am. It's an honor to be part of this, and I thank you. I love you, man. I love you. Yeah, baby, yeah. Yeah, baby. What do you say to that? A couple of days before we left for spring break, which seems a long time ago, I was in the PE office speaking to a couple of my colleagues about the possibility of me being voted as a commencement speaker. I mentioned that there was no way that was going to happen, and if it did happen, what could I say that would have any impact on these students that I love so dearly? I said I could write something down. I guess I could write a piece of paper. I could read off some cue cards. I could do that. I can do that with the best of them. And about that time, there was a knock on the door. And I turned around, and I won't embarrass the young man. He's on our track team. But there stood one of our track and field athletes. And he says, excuse me, Coach, I overheard you speaking to the other teachers. And if you don't mind me saying so, Coach, we didn't pick you to read off cards. We didn't pick you to read off a piece of paper. The reason why we picked you, Coach, is because we want you to speak from your heart, like you do when we're in class, like you do when we're in our team settings. That's what we want you to do. So I looked at him with a big smile and a warm heart with a slight pause and simply said, okay, and thank you for your advice. You know who you are, so thank you. So, as we continue, a graduation speech is meant to be a dance between youth and wisdom. Here we go. In my daily teaching and coaching, you will find me always saying something, and it's usually loud, to get over the music that is playing on the radio in the weight room or the sounds of people exercise in the gymnasium. I assure you, if you've been around me long enough, you have heard me say on many occasions that you need to find your rhythm. And I usually follow that with everything in life. Everything that you do has a rhythm. Go find your rhythm. For the past 13 years, you have all had the rhythm to your life. It kind of defined who you are. For example, you knew you had to get up for school in the morning. You knew you had to get dressed, eat breakfast, brush your teeth, comb your hair, some of you. Catch a bus to school or get a ride to school. In elementary school, you knew that once you got to school, that there would be a principal or teacher waiting for you to escort you to your homeroom, where your home teacher was waiting. You knew when lunch was. You knew when you had your favorite class of the day, PE. You know it's true, don't lie. You knew when it was time to go home, what bus you rode, who was on that bus stop, who got left first, and who didn't. Once you got home, you knew you had a set schedule. You had a rhythm. You did that day in and day out. During middle school and high school, things changed a bit, but now you had a school bell to help you with your rhythm Monday through Friday. In sports, it's the same thing. Trying to find one's rhythm takes a lot of time, energy, sacrifice, repetition, and belief. For the majority of our young lives, you live by a certain rhythm every single day. Now your rhythm is about to change. I know it can be a very scary time in your life. The unknown and uncertainty of what is next sometimes is a little overwhelming. But I know you're ready. I know you can do this. I know the things you've been through, you can handle this. Right now at this moment, because of the events that are going on around us, mainly the pandemic, most of the world's rhythm has been changed, altered in one way or another. Our community, our state, our country, our world needs you to find your rhythm. Class of 2020, you've had to deal with more disappointment and sadness these last few months than any graduate class before you. And I'm sorry. It is the hard days, the days that challenge you to your very core, that will determine who you are. I want you to always remember that you are all smart, you are fearless, and you have a spirit that is unwavering. I know this to be true. There is nothing that you cannot achieve. Anything is possible if you're willing to work for it, set goals for yourself, and dream big. Find your rhythm. Your path at 18 will not necessarily be your path at 28 or 38. One's dream is constantly evolving, rising and falling, changing course. Whatever your dream is now, it will probably change, and that's okay. What cannot ever change, ladies and gentlemen, what cannot ever change is a few things. I'm going to read them pretty fast. Is you never giving up on yourself, having faith, setting goals, never quitting when you suffer a setback. Do not ever limit yourself. Accept mistakes. Be willing to come out of your comfort zone. Finish what you start. Be kind to others. Have good character. Having good manners. And being kind to yourself when you stumble. Now, let me say that again, please. Be kind to yourself when you stumble. Remember, the one who falls and gets up is so much stronger than the one who never fell. We all fail at times. Remember that learning that comes from these failures serves us forever. You all know Denzel Washington, one of my favorite actors. If you can hear me, if you like Denzel, honk your horn. Honk your horn. Yeah, one of my favorite, right? All right. All right, that's enough. Knock it off. Knock it off. All right, Denzel Washington said during his commencement speech in 2011, if you never got a chance to see any of his speeches, you should. It's awesome. He does a great job. But I like to repeat some things that he said. He said, you will fail at some point in your life. Accept it. You will lose. You will embarrass yourself. You will suck at something. There's no doubt about it, because it's inevitable. He's right, but don't ever let the fear of failing stop you from trying to achieve a goal, ever. Because achieving your goal isn't the best part, ladies and gentlemen. What's the most important, most valuable is what you become through the struggle you achieve that goal. It's a process and a journey. Failure is a bruise, not a tattoo. Wear your failures like a badge of honor. Learn from them, and always move forward toward what you desire most. Failure is a lesson learned. Success is a lesson applied. I love that quote. Find your rhythm. I would like to share something with you all, and I promise I'll try to make it as quick as possible. It's a story about something that I went through when I was about your age. It has a little bit of everything that I've been speaking to you about. Goal setting, failure, triumphing over failure, believing in myself, kindness, changing paths, dreams, finding my rhythm. It has it all. And hopefully you can relate to it a little bit. All right, it's kind of personal, but it's true. All right. When I was younger, I found myself with my brothers and sisters living in a car for a while. This is hard for me to talk about. Growing up, my family was very poor, very uneducated. My brother and sister and I were adopted by a man who had a 5th grade education, and his father had a 3rd grade education. Nobody in my new family ever graduated high school, let alone college. My father and grandfather used to say going to school was a waste of time. And if a person needed or wanted to go to school, they should do it on their own time. You work a full 8 to 10 hour day every day, and you do that on your own time. In my family, they believe in working, and I think that's where I got my work ethic from. I believe I'm a hard worker, but they believe in working all the time. They didn't believe in goal setting. They just believe in whatever comes down the line, accept it and do the best that you can, and that's okay, I guess. We moved around a lot, not so much in the beginning, but as I got to my teens, it seemed that we constantly were pulling up and moving. I lived for a while at North St. Louis on the north side. And a little side note, by the time I graduated high school, I had been through 12 different schools. Kind of hard to find one's rhythm when you don't know where you're supposed to be the next day. My rhythm was I had no rhythm except taking care of my brothers and sisters, and my goal was to make sure I took care of them, make sure that they were fed, make sure they were dressed, make sure that they were taken care of. That was my responsibility. I had no rhythm except just survive. My junior year in high school, I met a teacher. We moved to a little town called Herculaneum. It's down south a little bit. Never even heard of it. When I met this teacher who literally saved and changed my life. His name was Clark Willie. He was a man I gave thanks to in the beginning. He was a very strict, very confident in his teaching and his coaching. He was a football coach and a track coach. He had a way about him to make people around him feel like they were winners and they were nothing that they couldn't achieve. He taught me to have faith. He taught me to be important to believing in myself. He taught me the importance of goal setting. He taught me that failure is not an option. He taught me that it's okay to have my own dreams. He taught me the importance of never giving up. I was starting to develop my own rhythm. I found a place that I felt like I could grow. I found that somebody had faith in me. And when I met this man, it was during the junior year. I was part of a track team after football, blew out my knee. We went on, we had a state championship, we won. We were state champions. I wasn't part of that championship. I didn't qualify. I wasn't very good. But I still went with the team. And at the end of the day, after the celebration was done, I was at Jeff City. I was up in the corner of the stadium, and I was overlooking this beautiful facility. And all of a sudden, I heard a voice come over my shoulder say, "Mr. Edwards, what are you doing here?" It was Coach. I said, "Coach, I have a goal. I have a dream. I'm going to be a state champion." And I was ready for him to laugh at me like my family would. And instead, he said, "Mr. Edwards, I believe in you. Let's go home. Let's get working on that." Man, was I excited. I finally found somebody who believed in me, who thought enough of me to help me find my rhythm. I was so excited. But as luck would have it, as I got home to tell my parents what I'm going to be, my family decided that they're going to move to California, of all places. California. I was devastated. I was devastated because I finally found a place that made me believe I could be successful. A place that made me feel that my dreams matter. A place where I really enjoyed my rhythm. I had a purpose. I had a goal. I had a dream. I'm going to be state champion. I knew if I could stay, somehow it would put me on the path I wanted to be on for myself this time. All right? I begged everyone that I came to know in this tiny town to please let me stay with them. But sadly to say, everybody said, "No, you go take care of your family." So we went home, we picked up the U-Haul trailer with my father's motorcycle and clothes that was on our back, and that was about it. My brother and I, along with soon-to-be brother-in-law, Rocky, and my sister's Bird, had to ride the entire way in the back of a U-Haul truck. 2,200 and some odd miles in the back of a U-Haul truck in August. The Bird, we used the Bird like the miners use to determine air quality. When the bird started acting weird or falling off his perch, we start banging on the wall. My father would pull over so we could have some fresh air. Who does that? I don't know. I thought that was kind of odd. A few months later, October of 1979 to be exact. Let me put this on. See if my techie can do this. All right. So here we go. This will be good. Give me a minute. See if you can hear this. It was a few months later, October 1979. Let's see if this plays. It's not playing. All right. Uh-oh. The end is near. You know the song? So I face the final curtain. When this song was playing, I was sitting in the gymnasium. They had 5,000 people. It was the biggest school I ever attended in my life. I was sitting up in the corner of the gym by myself, not knowing anybody, not having a dream, not having a goal. I just left some place that I felt I belonged. I left somebody who felt like they had dreams of me being successful. I remember sitting in the assembly film all these strangers to me. They were showing a movie about following your dreams, about having goals, about choosing your right career path, and that life was too short. Make it what you want. In the background, Frank Sinatra was singing a song. I did it my way. Well, I took that as a sign, ladies and gentlemen. I got to march myself out of the gym in front of all these people. They'll watch me walk across. I walked out the doors and I walked 10 miles home. It was more like 2, but 10 sounds better. I went back home and I started packing my bag. I told my parents I'm going back to Missouri. I'm going back to a place where I felt like I had a dream, a place where I could find my rhythm, a place where I know I could be successful. I was scared to death, and I thought my parents would stop me, but instead, they agreed. And there's a lot of things that happened that got me into school. Turn it off, Noah. Me and phones don't get along. So I told my father and mother what I was going to do. I made arrangements with people to stay. I lied. I said I had a place to stay. I didn't. But my parents believed me. My dad took me to the bus station. He took me on a bus station on the back of his motorcycle. Me holding a big suitcase and sitting on the back trying not to touch my dad because my dad was a big motorcycle guy and he just didn't like to be touched. So trying to go down the highway holding these bags was quite the sight to see, I'm sure. When we got to the bus station, my father just looked at me and said, "Good luck and call your mama once in a while." And off he went. My dad wasn't big on goodbyes, but I was off to find my rhythm. So now I said, here, this is the rest of the story. All right. When I got back to Missouri, of course I didn't have a place to stay. I was living in a car again. Michael Goodwin was his name. He was a good man. I played football with him. He let me stay in his abandoned car in the back of the house. I found myself going door to door asking people for food. I asked them if I could do some work. I asked if I could do my laundry. The people that worked at the high school I was at, the custodian staff, they knew what I was going through and the time to let me stay in the gym, to let me sleep there. But I was bound and determined. I had a goal and I had a dream, and that's what I wanted to do. I was scared. I was by myself, but it was something that I needed to do. I had to prove that I could do this. I had to find my rhythm. There was times, let me back up a little bit. Eventually a family called the Kings took me in. They had 5 children. They had a small bedroom, 3-bedroom house. I slept on the floor underneath the crib. They were very kind, very poor people, but they're very nice to me. They gave me a place to stay. And Mr. and Mrs. King, wherever you are, thank you. Thank you for helping me find my rhythm. I owe you a lot. I find at times when I get to school, I would go to my locker and I would find a pair of shoes once in a while. I found coupons. I found things I needed to survive. I didn't know where they came from. And I asked everybody, I didn't know. I found out later it was from that man called Coach Willie, who helped me find my rhythm, who believed in me. So I like to say that I was all for a good cause, that I was a champion and went on to be a state champion in the discus, which was my dream was. But it didn't happen. I failed. I came up miserably short. On that day, I was terrible. Some days you're a coal and some days you're a diamond. I was a piece of coal that day. I remember thinking to myself, I gave up so much, I've done so much, I've believed in myself, I set goals, I've done everything I could. Why did this happen to me? But it did. Well, as luck would have it, Coach Willie reached out and I got a scholarship to a couple of universities. One of them was the School of the Ozarks. Went there, dropped out after a week. I was working in a coal plant. That's how you do things at the Ozarks. You shovel coal or whatever you have to do to earn your money, to pay off for your scholarship. But I was shoveling coal till 6 a.m. in the morning, and then I had to get up for class at 8, and that didn't work too good. So I went back to California, and there I tried to walk on to play football at San Jose State. Got my knee blown up again. I was doing really well, too. I was going to be a football player. So as you can see, my paths have changed. My goals have changed. Everything's changed. I had to find my rhythm again. I was lost. But I knew I had to keep going forward doing something positive. So when I went back to Missouri for the 3rd time, I enrolled myself into a JUCO. And when I enrolled in JUCO, I decided to go to be a teacher instead of business because of the man who was helping me through this whole thing. Well, I got to tell you, I was working at a place called Home Furniture and doing some other things. On the back of this trash truck, I was filthy. I was covered from head to toe. I was jumping up and down the back of this trash truck to get the trash to go down. It was hot, about 95 plus degrees. And all of a sudden I heard a familiar voice come over my shoulder again. Mr. Edwards, what are you doing here? I know that voice. I turned around and I said, Coach, what are you doing here? He says, I heard you didn't make it to school. Why not? Coach, I'm lost. I don't know what to do. He says, I do. You're going to school, son. I just became the athletic director of a small university. I'm the head track and field coach as well, and you're going to come throw for me. You're going back to school. And I did. And when I got there, that's when I changed my degree to teaching because of him. Now, when I got there, I got to tell you, I was one of the hardest working people you ever met. I pride myself. There's not many people in this world that can outwork me when I put my mind to it. And I was bound and determined. I told Coach Willie, Coach, I'm going to be an All-American. I'm going to make the Olympic team in the discus. I'm going to do this. And instead of laughing at me, the man looked me in the eye and said, I believe you, Mr. Edwards. Let's get to work on that. Again, he was helping me find my rhythm. All along, when everything was changing, I still had faith in myself, and I had faith in God above. And that can never change. You have to have faith, ladies and gentlemen. You have to have faith. Well, I like to say that I became an All-American and I made the Olympic team. Well, I came up short in both. You talk about devastated. I remember being down at Arkansas State. I just competed. I missed it by a few feet. I was so taken back, so heartbroken, because, ladies and gentlemen, there was nobody in this country, nobody in this world that put more effort into becoming something, their dreams, than I did. I walked over to the biggest tree I could find, and I took these discus, and I shattered them. I threw them up against the wall, against a tree, rather, and I sat there, and I had myself a good little cry, a little pity. I thought to myself, Lord, what do I need to do to be successful? I've done everything I possibly can. I sacrificed so much. I tried my hardest. Why can't I find my rhythm? Why can't I be what I want to be? Why didn't my goals turn out to be what I want them to be? And I swore at that time I would never coach football or coach track and field for the rest of my life. Too disappointing. Too disappointing. Well, it didn't last long. A few weeks later, I was offered jobs at the University of Missouri, K-State, and Ohio State. And Missouri is where I went. Guess what? I was coaching football and track and field. I had the opportunity to work there for 4.5 years, made some great contacts. I think I changed one or two persons' lives. I helped them along the way to find their rhythm. I stayed there until I found a job and was blessed here at Rockwood, where I've been here for the last 28 years. I've been truly blessed. And I found out at that time, ladies and gentlemen, that it wasn't because I won a championship, it wasn't because I won anything that made me the person that I was or am today. What made me who I am was my failures. My failures, my dreams. It was my adversity to get over those hurdles, to do without, to keep focused, to have faith in the God above and in myself. I became a better person because of my failures, not because of my accomplishments. I share this with you because I want you to know that everyone struggles to find their rhythm in this world. Don't be afraid to fail. Push yourself. No one can do it for you. This life is your responsibility. Love the person you have become. You have survived 100% of the challenges in your life. The odds are very high that you will survive whatever comes next. The struggle you're in today is developing the strength you need for tomorrow. Before I give my closing remarks, I got to tell you, to help me find my rhythm. That man I told you about, his name is Clark Willie. Right? He had a beautiful niece. Her name is Tracy Edwards now. So you see, that man's niece is now my wife. And I got 3 lovely children, and the same blood that runs through that man's veins runs through my children's veins. So yes, I found my rhythm, ladies and gentlemen, and she's sitting right over there. Yeah, baby, yeah. You guys are awesome. All right, closing remarks. I want to quote Miss Maya Rudolph. If you don't know who she is, she's a comedian, and she is funny. I listened to her during her commencement speech, and here's what she said. Hold on to your old friends. Kiss your mama. Don't beat yourself up if you don't know what you're going to do tomorrow. But work hard, and don't be lazy. And put down your darn phones once in a while. Be nice to jerks. We still don't know their criteria for getting into heaven yet. Class 2020, I want you to remember these 3 little things whenever you feel scared or overwhelmed. They're all the things you possess and can use whenever you choose to. Have a kind heart. Have a fierce mind. Have a brave spirit. I am encouraged by what I see, and I love what I see. Don't forget that life's a journey. Go establish your rhythm in this world. We need you. Congratulations and God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Coach Edwards, for sharing your story to help inspire us and inspire our graduates as they leave us today. For our graduates, when you came to us as freshmen, there was something very magical about being the class of 2020. It rings differently than the other years. And just as you entered, you're leaving in a very magical way as well. A little bit more magical than I thought tonight was going to go, but good nonetheless. I'm glad we were able to still have you all walk across the stage. I do have one last message this evening for the class of 2020. As you leave us today, I hope you know how much you are loved and that we will always welcome you back home to Summit. You have left a legacy that will continue in our halls when you are gone. On behalf of the staff of Rockwood Summit High School, thank you for letting us be a part of your lives over the last 4 years. We wish you the best of luck on your next adventure. Just make sure you come home to tell us all about it. You will forever be a part of the Summit family. With that, I would just like to say thank you again to all of our parents for helping us with this evening. Thank you to our staff, and most of all, thank you to the class of 2020. Way to leave us in the most memorable way. Congratulations again, and have a wonderful night. Safe trip home.